Hey,
Hi,
I'm Safi,
I'm Fifi.
and today we are here to talk to y'all about boundaries, compromise, and finding balance in relationships in general. Your relationship with other people and your relationships with yourself. So I think to start, we have a few different kinds of way people act in relationships. There's the self-sacrificial, really selfless. It's painted as very selfless, like,
Yeah.
yo, I'll give you the shirt off my back, like type shit. When we talk about like self-sacrificing and the type of person who chooses everyone else's needs before their own to show love or to prove that they love someone, and I think a lot of the time to feel worthy of love. Like I have to like earn this, so I have to constantly keep giving.
I think this has a lot to do as well with attachment styles and love languages.
Word.
So anxious.
Attachment would fall under this archetype of constantly trying to meet other people's needs and trying to fix and manage outcomes around them. The reason why to be in that extreme is problematic in relationships is that it ends up building resentments ultimately. Like if you're not doing something out of the kindness of like, I just want to do this and like move on with my day, it probably is going to build resentment because it's like, I'm doing this to earn something. And if you don't get the thing that you thought you earned from that, you're going to be tight.
Exactly. And it's quite transactional when you think about it. And it functioned under, like I've earned this and therefore I deserve it. And it can manufacture a lot of unwarranted self-pity, martyrdom syndrome, where I've given up so much. I'm so altruistic.
Yeah, I take care of everyone and no one takes care of me.
Advantage of me. That kind of language around like being taken advantage of, being a doormat, a people pleaser. So there's motive behind that kind of behavior.
Right.
So
check yourself. If you're someone who has an attachment style this way, if you're someone who shows love that way, then it's like practicing setting boundaries and like saying the thing that's really uncomfortable to say. Like if your partner or your friend is doing something or your family member is doing something that upsets you or makes you uncomfortable, you can say something with like obviously like tenderness and kindness, like, hey, this is actually making me uncomfortable and I think I need to take a step back.
Yeah. Or like, I'm not available for that.
And the second, like on the other side, the other extreme is the, oh man, like I can't make commitments and I don't like to have expectations because you never know where life's gonna take you, and like that kind of narrative. But it just comes off as being like inconsiderate, emotionally unavailable, and not showing up for other people ever. Totally like, I need to choose myself. I think our generation is really good for evading accountability sometimes, and this might be a controversial opinion, but in the sense that I'm gonna pick myself. Usually the archetype we just talked about, that resentment builds, and this is what comes after the resentment builds. Fuck it, like I'm gonna do whatever I want, fuck everybody else, I'm not showing up for my relationships because I've been putting myself out there for so long and I'm gonna da. And it's just also not sustainable. Not sustainable, you know?
Yeah, this is like the meme of the cleaned up femme, like super neat, pristine, like kind of prudish looking, and then like after a breakup and she's like wearing a leather jacket.
Yeah,
like,
smoking a cigarette, like, fuck me, man.
Yeah,
I'm not doing this shit no more.
All of this.
Yeah.
And we, at least culturally, it's one or the other. Very rarely we're taught what the in-between, what the rational,
what like
logical.
compromise looks like and what,
Yeah.
you know, I can show up for myself and other people, and those two things can exist. And it really ultimately comes down to, similarly to that cycle that we just talked about, it comes down to I need to choose myself and take care of myself so I can show up for other people, and that's the cycle. That's the healthy cycle. And the problem with the person who doesn't show up for anyone else ever and like doesn't want to consider other people, you're not very believable. When I experience someone like that, I'm like, okay, I can't really depend on this person for much. Like they're not gonna show up, and like keeping them at arm's length.
And the quality of the friendships obviously diminish
Right.
because you're not trustworthy. So it just becomes a thing where you have these surface level relationships all around, and in the long run it does become quite lonely. There's this manifesto of I'm self-sufficient, I don't need anyone else.
And it's ultimately like a self-fulfilling prophecy because you're like, I don't need anyone, and no one's showing up, so like, I don't need anyone. And this is how I know I don't need anyone, because everyone is taking care of themselves, so I'm gonna take care of myself, and da.
And also watch for the declarative language in both of these archetypes. There's no room for compromise.
When there's a declaration.
Yeah, there's this certainty, there's this stubbornness of being so sure. Don't be so sure all the time. give yourself some room to grow in your relationships.
It's totally okay to have phases of life where you're like, oh, I need to focus on myself right now, and other phases where like, I really want to focus on community building. Not just phases, but just moments of the day.
Right.
You know?
It can change. Like, yes, I need to dedicate these hours in the day to myself, and then later on, I can offer other people my time. That's about it. Yeah.
It seems really simple, but like this is like probably going to be the journey that all of us are going to be on for the rest of our lives, is finding this balance, and like that's a part of it.
So in the spirit of, what is it, the holidays?
The holidays, yeah.
Where people might be requesting our time, be considerate of yourself and of the people you care about that want to spend time with you. That's it.
Amen.
Amen. Okay, bye.
Bye.